Action! Activate!
Dude.
Internet land and ranger people of all types. My name is Gazbot, and I'm here for Action Activate. And if I'm here, well, then you know, of course,
it's me, the big Dawg Defender, on Mirror Universe Day, where you wear the glasses and I don't.
Oh yeah, I didn't even think of that. That's funny.
It really was a split-second decision.
Are you going to put it back on in a minute?
Yeah, we'll see.
Well, Big Dog needs them for prescription. These are just like computer blue blockers because my eyes were dilated earlier, so this is not a permanent situation. These aren't even mine. These are actually Irsuki's, which is why they've got the lovely pink. Although I kind of think it looks good on me, to be honest. So
I think it has a nice contrast with the blonde.
Yeah, and the black.
That too.
Yeah. Well, so we're here not to talk about glasses, but to talk about Power Rangers Dino Fury Episode 6, Superstition Strikes. So, we've both watched it. Usually, the way we've been doing it, we've been watching it like that day or the day before and recording. Now it's been a few days, and I didn't take notes, which I usually do.
Yeah, so this is very early Action Activate of us of like, hey, so we watched it 3 days ago. Let's go over it again after it's marinated.
Except in early days, I would have a slideshow.
True.
Which I don't, but I do have a video that I could maybe put up a few things here and there. So do you want to give first impressions? We haven't talked about this. But yeah, give just the first impression of a rough,
Normally, when we would watch an old episode, or like when we watch Beast Morphers and we'd watch it on Saturday and review it on Monday or Tuesday, it would marinate a little bit. And a lot of times I noticed for myself, it would end up being better after the fact versus like sometimes in the moment. This did less marinating and more festering.
Oh, boy.
Where I like it less. Not even less now. I still don't like it, and I didn't like it on Saturday.
You know what's funny is I was saying to Big Dog, like, we don't have time to do news or anything extra. We got to kind of do this one quick because we're recording it later and stuff's going on. And he's like, yeah, well, don't worry. We're not going to let's talk about it. I like this episode.
Wow.
Yeah, I did. I like it a lot better than last week. I could tell you that.
Wow. Double wow. Yeah. I definitely do not. Oh,
I know.
Wow.
And I kind of got that vibe from you, which is why I didn't want to say anything until we were on the air. But do I think it's one of the best episodes of all time? No. But I do think it's a good, solid episode that I didn't have any major complaints with.
This is my probably worst episode this season.
Worse than it had. First of all, there was no J-board.
I know.
I thought that alone.
I didn't like it, and it was one of those things where it's like, be careful what you wish for. It's like, God, just cut out J-board. Fine, we cut it out. I'm like, no, but now you made everybody else be dumb. Like, I don't like that.
I mean, spoilers, at the very end, they had some goofy stuff with the Blue Ranger. That was my least favorite part. But I felt like, well, they didn't do anything too dopey the whole episode. Throw in one goofy gag at the end. Fine. So that's kind of how I felt about it. But you feel like they spread it out throughout, huh?
Yeah, let's just jump in.
Okay. Superstition Strikes. So
I like
you lead off. What?
The beginning was cool. We start out at the evil doer's lair. We see, I'm totally forgetting her name.
Mucus, thank you.
Mucus sitting in the chair, like just kind of being goofy. Boom Tower's like, hey, you better get out of that chair. She's like, what? I don't care. Void Knight's not coming. Derp. And then Void Knight shows up and she's like,
appropriate comedy from an appropriate comedic character.
Totally great. Yes. No complaints yet.
Well, then there's like the secret door he comes out of. And they're like, what have you been doing in there? And true like villain leader style, like, why don't you just go look? And then she does and gets electrocuted, goes flying across the room. I had no problem with this either.
Yeah, I was fine with this whole scene.
Okay. I was expecting you to be like, well, that was dumb. Because it is here. Actually, I think it's coming over here. It is like she goes flying across the room.
It goes flying, and it's like, okay.
But normally I would complain that that's cartoony. But it makes sense because it's a booby trap door that a villain hit another villain with. She's not a human. She flew around, a human would have been killed by that. So that all works for me. That works perfectly fine. So far we're on the same page.
Yes.
Then we go to Buzz Blast. And I forget what's going on in Buzz Blast. What are they looking for here? This is why notes come in handy.
Yeah, I know.
They want to Buzz Blast. Oh, this part. Okay.
Yeah, they think there's a monster. A guy calls it in. Yes. The Rangers immediately show up, which slight complaint. This isn't a major one for me, but people are still running away and they come down, and it's like, you guys kind of already made a big deal that people can't know your Power Rangers. You're really sloppy at the whole time.
Oh, that's true. I believed that they could get there that fast, and that was fine. I didn't. You're right. I'll give you a Ninja Steel point for that one.
Thank you.
Okay. So now this is the monster.
Yeah.
One frame here. Oops, 2 frames. Is this goofy? Yes. Is it unrealistic? Yes. But I liked that when I saw, at a glance, that could almost be a monster.
Yes.
You know what I mean? You can imagine they hose it off and it's got some gray goopy monster like, I'm the Suds man. So how did again, spoilers, human get this sudsy and messed up is unrealistic. But the fact that people thought this might be a monster in a world full of monsters, I was willing to go with.
Yeah, I kind of just shrugged it. I was like, all right.
And I guess also it's of the slapsticky, goofy stuff we've seen from this show, just this show so far, that is by far not the worst, in my opinion.
Yeah, it's definitely like mid-tier. It's nowhere near the worst.
Agreed. And it's not from a main character. It's just from this one-off side guy, which, again, is more forgivable to me.
Yeah. So we see the Suds monster turns out to be a window washer. But, hey, guess what? It's the Pink Ranger's grandpa.
Sure.
Okay.
Coincidence. This show is all coincidence.
Sure.
It always has been.
Once again, I'm not going to say I love it. I'm not going to say I hate it. Whatever.
Yeah.
Some of the dialogue here I didn't love. I'm not going to say it's the worst thing I've ever heard.
The grandpa had a lot of what people would say, like cringy jokes or whatever, but he's a grandpa. He's supposed to be like that. They're supposed to be corny and kind of try to be hip.
Jokes. I say corny jokes all the time, especially on this show because I'm your boy, the big dog. But I just wanted to sprinkle that in there. So, to me, like a lot of what was going on with the dialogue of, oh, I used to clean her room. Oh, my God, Pop, stop talking about my room. I'm cleaning myself. I'm like, okay, come on.
Was it unnecessary? Sure, but it was not. Again, judging it by Power Ranger standards, it wasn't that terrible. And it made sense for this character as opposed to someone else.
We've seen better is all I'm going to say.
We've seen worse is all I'm going to say.
Okay.
I'm not saying this was the highlight of the episode, but again, I guess I keep looking at he's a one-off character. He's a grandpa. It's supposed to be goofy. Do I love this? No, not at all. I'm not like, this is great, but it didn't bother me at all. It didn't bother me even a little bit.
I don't know. Like I said, there's going to be a lot of this episode.
Right.
A lot of struggling. Oh, she walks under the ladder, and here's where I start to heavy sigh, and I'm like, oh, no, not this again. We've done this before. Yeah,
but we've got the Blue Ranger skeptic going like, come on, you don't believe in this stupid stuff, right? It doesn't matter, which, again, is what I wanted to see out of these two, and we're getting it. So I like that it's playing up that dynamic they set up in the very first episode.
I agree. I think the dynamic's good. I hate the trope episodes where they do dumb stuff like this, where it's like, and then they were riddled with bad luck until they weren't.
Right, no, but here's the thing. I agree. But often they will actually be riddled with bad luck. It'll really seem like there is a force of luck in the world working against them. In this episode, I felt like she had a normal Power Rangers day where, a monster shows up and stuff, but that happens every day. And it was just her perception of the events that made it seem like bad luck. And that was the moral of the end of the story. Is it there's no luck. It's just what you decide to focus on, whatever. So I liked that it wasn't an episode about her being cursed with bad luck. It was an episode about her thinking she had bad luck because she was just being negative.
I would have preferred she was cursed.
Why?
Because at least then it's more explainable than oh, everything's the worst.
Everything isn't the worst. What really happened? She tore her sweater. She gets into a fight and loses against a one-on-one with a monster.
And her morpher's destroyed.
That happens all the time. Equipment gets damaged. And Beast Morphers, they were always getting their morphers destroyed.
Okay, we can count on our hands how many times morphers have gotten destroyed.
man-made ones, like magical ones from Zordon, yeah, but like beast morphers and like and whatever Zolar. I mean, I said man-made, but it's Dino made. But like, yeah, it's
so that's 2.
But this isn't bad luck. This is your superhero fighting monsters kind of stuff, 1-on-1. And then she blocks the blast, and it happens to hit her friends. Again, collateral damage always happens. I don't. I didn't see. Here's the problem. Do you believe in bad luck? Do you believe in bad luck?
No.
Okay, because I guess we're almost having the argument they're having in the show, where you're like, look at all this bad stuff that happens to her, and I'm like, that's just coincidence in the way she chooses to look at it. And you're like, I don't see it that way. I see it as actual.
Here's why. I didn't like it right now, and then as we get later in the episode, the ending is what solidified me not liking it.
Okay, well, we'll get to that.
Yeah.
I do like this part where Mucus steals her thing, and she's like, oh, you better focus on that monster. He's really tough. And then she's like, ha, 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 classic misdirection. I thought that was cute and funny.
I liked her stealing the morpher. I thought that was cool.
Yeah, and I Mucus as a cute, evil character is growing on me, I got to say.
Yep, I agree. I think she's getting better as the show progresses of like a fine line between like not too – I'm trying to think of an example of a too goofy henchman. But like to me, she seems like –
the guy from Overdrive maybe? He's like the monkey guy that
oh, the Iceman?
Not I guess he's like a abominable –
Yeah, he's like a Yeti.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's too goofy. To me, Mucus is like a mash between – Curio and Poisandra, but without any subplot of Poisandra being in a relationship.
Yeah, I can see that. I can absolutely see that. I like this. I thought there was a fair amount of good humor, and I like this one here where you think the Red Ranger is going to blast him with his Toronto blast and kind of win the day. And as he hits him, he says, I'll put it up here so I can see what he says. I have the subtitles on. He says, guess he couldn't handle the heat or something like that. And then he throws it right back, and it's like, oh, I guess he could. Like I'm misquoting it, but I thought that was good because they're all. I thought it was fair. Yeah, I thought that was cool.
That was a cool power-up scene. Also, the monster itself. Just taking a pause on that. Yeah. What do you think of the monster design?
I did not realize he was a troll until somebody pointed it out.
I noticed it right away, and it was very distracting.
I thought he was just some kind of like rock-based ground monster. And like after I saw the episode, somebody pointed out that he had, and I wish I can give credit, it was somebody on Ranger Twitter, I don't remember who you were, that he had a Russian accent. I thought it was more of Austrian, like Arnold Schwarzenegger. They said it sounded Russian. I'm not great with accents, so who knows? And they were like, is that a joke about Russian trolls? Like, I don't know. It seems a little too meta, but
yeah, I think so too. Yeah. I think design-wise, the troll face took away from a lot of the rest of it just because it was so pronounced.
Because the big nose and the what do you mean exactly?
Yeah, and the tusk and stuff. Like it's okay, but I liked the rest of the costume better, and I feel like that distracted me more than seeing the powers of absorption.
The weird zipper is a little strange too, but
once again, the Sentai stuff. So
yeah, it's not my favorite. It's Sentai, and it's also Power Rangers and Sentai. I feel like there's a lot of characters going all the way back to Mighty Morphin where like there's like really awesome blade arms and this crazy, and then they have like a goofy face made of a balloon or something, like so. It doesn't. It's not my favorite or my least favorite. It's just a monster of the week. I will say it's not as generic as some others. In the beginning of this season, I was saying how some of the monsters seemed a little too generic, and I don't feel that the last few monsters we've got. Yeah,
I agree. It was just something I noticed there. Yeah. So
I'm not looking for a figure of him, put it that way.
Yeah, same. I almost said Poisandra again, but Mucus, thank you. I almost said Slimy. This is going to be the thing where
I hope it's Mucus.
Now I'm doubting myself. Of evil is going to be like how I name Mucus every time. Like Snot-Nosed Monster is the monsters flee. Now they have a busted morpher that they can try to reverse engineer, right. And Pink Ranger throws a tantrum of her having bad luck.
Yes. Yep. And again, up to this point, I have been more forgiving / liked it more than you have, but I don't think you've said anything or like where it's terrible, like you seem to allude to in the beginning. So I feel like a lot of stuff you just like this coming up.
The first initial little crack was when we met Pop Pop. Then right. The crack got a little bit bigger when she was like, woe is me, bad luck is the worst. And then it just like eventually just shatters.
Well, speaking of Shatter, at this point, what?
Here, it reminded me of Overdrive in the worst way, where it was just them being
Operation Overdrive is my favorite season.
Whatever.
Sorry, continue.
I'll accept that. Of her being like, "Oh, everything's hard. I just shouldn't be a ranger. I don't want to be a ranger because things are hard and I don't know what to do."
I disagree. We've seen that before, yes, and it's a trope that isn't great. But she's saying, "I still care. I still want to help, but I care so much," because she believes in bad luck, which I think is dumb, and like you're not supposed to. That the lesson's supposed to be don't believe in bad luck. But at this moment, she does. So she firmly believes that she is, for lack of a term, cursed. And even if she tries to help, it will hurt her team. Now, do I think that's silly? Yes, but I still think it's a good motivation. It's not her giving up. She's clearly distraught about this. She's not like, "Oh, I can't hack it as a ranger," or "I'm not good enough to be on the team." She's like, "I have this curse on me and I don't want to inflict on my teammates." So I do think it's different than just saying I'm not good enough or I give up.
Okay.
Look at this eye action.
Yeah, awesome.
But it was a thing. Oh, that was a nice cut where I cut from one morpher to the other. I didn't even realize that.
Yeah. Then Void Knight has the other morpher. He wants to reverse engineer it.
So they can teleport into the base to get all the Sporix.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So they want to use it to teleport in. And I believe Boom Tower teleports in.
Yes. The plan is that Boom Tower will teleport in while the new monster, the troll monster, like attacks and makes it seem like that's the real attack.
Yeah.
But meanwhile, Pink Ranger is still in the base, not able to morph, but still in the base because she's afraid to go join the team.
Yeah, Amelia. I just remembered.
Amelia. Thank you.
Yeah. I really dislike the trope of the mentor or assistant to the Rangers has to convince a Ranger or the team to just be a Ranger, and it's better than not being a Ranger. And it's just really frustrating to see it again when we've seen it done poorly in the past.
Is this because you're thinking if someone gave you a Ranger power, there'd never be a point where you'd be like, "I better not do this"?
To me, if you're going to do that, episode 6 isn't the time.
Right. Or episode 1, or like maybe after a big defeat. But again, I don't think it's that trope you're saying it is. It's similar, but it's just like I don't think she is cursed with bad luck, but it's about her perception. I don't think she's saying I don't want to be a Ranger. She's just saying I can't put my teammates in danger.
The thing that got me though is like when you look at it analytically, which the Red Ranger does on so many occasions, and he's always optimistic, is it's like, look, like we need your help because we couldn't do it when all 5 of us did it. I don't know why you think 4 of us doing it and you not being involved is going to be better.
Right, because he's logical and he understands that there's no bad luck curse, but she doesn't. And clearly she was raised from her grandfather to believe in this stuff.
Being dumb. And then this was another thing that like mildly bugs me about the season, and I didn't think it bugged me until this episode, where the second that a monster leaves, they're like, "Oh, we got to go back to that useless menial task of the episode." And like in other episodes, it was fine. And in this, it's like, dude, like he's a professional window washer. I get you're trying to help him.
I agree, yes.
Things to do.
I do agree that they didn't need to offer to help him at all because it is his job. It's not like he's an old man trying to fix it. And
established that they have jobs that we haven't seen them do.
Oh, yeah, that's true. I will give you a Ninja Steel for that. That is true.
That's why I'm so frustrated with the layers of plot holes.
But once they agreed to help, they are now committed to continue helping. So them going back doesn't bother me. They just never should have agreed to it anyway. It was just a weird. It felt like, oh, let's go to my grandpa's house. Oh, he's trying to fix the roof. Let's help him. Is what it felt like. But you're right. It's like he's a professional window washer. Why? That's like someone coming to my job and be like, "Oh, I brought my friends. We're gonna do your job." Like what? Like that makes no sense.
It's this weird layered thing that creates problems. Of like last episode, we saw Green Ranger as a student and an athlete.
Yes,
I'm just gonna help this window washer. Cool.
I agree, but clearly it doesn't bother me as much as it bothers you. And I don't think it's a good part of the episode, but it doesn't bother me the way it bothers you.
One easy fix for me where I would be less frustrated is if just Zato did it.
Wouldn't it make more sense if just Amelia did it since it's her grandfather?
No, but here's the thing. Everybody has responsibilities except for him. Everybody has a job but Zato. So he's like, I got nothing to do. I'm essentially an alien caveman. And it's like...
Sure. All right, that's fair. Or make it be at her grandpa's house instead of, a professional job he has.
Yeah, just the whole thing.
I agree with you in principle, just not in ferocity. Just not
it's a snowball. It started and it's a rolling.
But I do think there was the bad comedy in this was not as bad as in most of the other episodes. And I felt it had a fair amount of good comedy to balance it out. The action was fine. It wasn't and oh my God, we got to remember this episode forever. It was a filler episode. It was the definition of a filler episode. It focused on the Pink Ranger, had, character development. And for that kind of episode, I think it did it as well as you can. You know what I mean? So that's why I feel like it was good. Last episode was a sort of filler episode, even though they got a new Zord and we had a guest star from real life, but it was just like they did it badly. They could have done it better. And while I agree
over this week infinitely.
That's so crazy to me. That's so because this week the worst that would happen would be like, this isn't great, or I'm a little bit bored for a second. But overall, I liked it. Last week it was like, this is dumb. Why are they doing that? Like I was getting, or I was like,
I feel this week.
Oh, this is so weird. Let's just agree to look at Boom Tower and what a great design he is. He's so fun.
Awesome.
We've said it before, but he's so cool. So clearly he got it.
This week versus last week, just comparing apples to apples, I feel like I still like the Green Ranger just as much, if not more, for whatever argument, after last week's episode, whereas this week's episode made me dislike the Pink Ranger, where I previously liked her more.
I guess maybe you held her in higher esteem than I did.
Yeah,
I disliked her, but
he was the emotional, and Blue Ranger was the analytical. Right. And now this one's just, she is irrational, and he is rational. Like, that's all I got out of it for their dynamic.
I mean, but it goes with her believing in ghosts and aliens and every possible thing there is, some of which she should believe in this world. But she just believes all these conspiracy theories, and it shows why. She grew up in a family where they believe in luck and all that stuff, so that explains it. Okay.
All I learned was she was incompetent and willing to turn her back on the Rangers up until this point where I was like, okay, at least you morphed in there. Cool.
Yeah, and she knocked it off. I don't know. I thought it was for a lesson of the day, they did it well. The last one was about winning isn't everything, and I felt like it was not told well. This one is hey, there's no luck, just how you perceive the world, and your reality is what you make it, which I believe is a good message, and I think they got it across. Did they punctuate it with a goofy joke with the Blue Ranger falling into 5,000 things? Yes, but it's whatever.
We'll get to it too, of some more grievances that I had that maybe you don't realize.
Okay. Well, they're having the fight.
She's back, which is good. Thank you.
She's got her confidence back, which means no more bad luck, because that's all it was, really, was coincidence and lack of confidence. I think this is a pretty decent fight. It's got some cool stuff with the railing.
I think it's reasonable. Some cool kind of using the environment to their advantage thing, which I enjoyed.
Yeah.
Good little mini team up of blue and pink, as we've said. So that was good for the fight. I like that. Monster grows.
Yes.
And this part was weird to me, where they've established we have a green Zord, and he's like, cool, just mine. We just need my Zord.
Yeah, I mean, in the earlier episodes, it started that way. So I don't know. Maybe this was shot out of order from Sentai. I do like the hold on, let me back this up. I like that while they're talking about the Zord fight, in the background, they're still fighting Boom Tower. They're like, so anyway, we're gonna go get him. And in the background, just fight. Like, really? Like could have helped while you're talking, I guess, but whatever.
So we get the three of them in the Zord, which kind of starts to reinforce our theory of it doesn't matter how many Zords are attached. Once the Rangers are in, they help power the Zord with themselves. Yes.
And also, we had talked previously, let me back up, about why can't they rotate it so whoever Zord is the head gets to be in the front. And we're like, oh, well, because the set and moving the set and blah, 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 blah. But look at right here. Okay. There's only
they can easily do it, and they don't.
Yeah, clearly they have this set built, and they just move the podiums in when the other Rangers come in. So they could super easy, barely inconvenience move that in, and they're just choosing not to, which is such an easy win that I don't know why they're not doing.
Yeah, it's that frustrated me because I think Dino Charge did do that.
Let us know in chat. I don't remember.
Yeah, I the very least I know is they got the American revolver saber if they were leading the charge on something. Which
was, I guess fine, but
better than nothing.
Yeah, but being in the pilot seat, for lack of a better term, would be cool. And because you could even have even if the fighting style is the same, with the footage, you could just have the person say, hey, I'm going to try a kick, or you just make dialogue justify what's happening to make it seem like there's a different power, you know?
So we start to get the fight. They do a couple different formations with the red only Zord.
And blue and pink are still fighting Boom Tower.
Still, he leaves. They're like, cool, let's join the party.
Oh, the troll monster keeps redirecting all their attacks.
Yep.
And so then Pink's like, well, they need armor. Hey, that's me. Let's go, basically.
Yeah, so with this, we find out that any ranger can be kind of the head of the Zord, which is cool.
Oh, is that the first time we've seen that? I thought we saw that in the last episode with Green.
I don't think we did. If I'm wrong,
why were we talking about somebody else being in the command spot?
Because it was the first time we saw it more modular.
Okay.
As far as I remember. If I'm wrong, tell me in the comments, please.
Well, clearly they do show us here that Pink. Oh, I missed it, but Pink is the head of this one, and so so they push the other ones in there, so they could. There's Pink as the head.
So that's the thing. So
see, look, and even the pink smoke and that pose, it looks like that would be Pink piloting.
Exactly. So the thing here is the problem I had is we can already establish that before bad luck is not a thing, and she was in her head. Yeah. Now it's the exact opposite, where she keeps getting lucky like 7 times in a row, and I'm like,
okay, I see your point. Well, first they try to fight her. It's not working. She's like, let's do power. Okay, let's try like slower. Let's speed up. And she has the confidence. So she's trying a bunch of things. It's not working. So I'm fine with all of that. You're talking about this part right here where she's like, I'm going to wind up.
And then it happens to work out in this weird mousetrap like.
And here's the disconnect. And I'm going to let it go. I saw that and I'm like, oh, she hit that. No big deal. And you're like, oh, and then it becomes this good luck thing. But this mousetrap-like thing, also called a Rube Goldberg machine, because I think he's the artist who invented this kind of idea. I am a sucker for it. I am a sucker for it.
It's done right. This is explaining it wrong, in my opinion.
She did have good luck, and I agree that just like she shouldn't have bad luck, she shouldn't have good luck, like as a power or as a force. But I loved the little Rube Goldberg thing. I thought it was so goofy and cartoony.
It was very unexpected. I'll give it that.
Yeah, I can understand why you wouldn't like that though, and yeah, I can understand why you wouldn't like it. It tickled me.
The other, and this is a minor nitpick, just because I'm in a negative mood about it. When it had the smoke effect, I didn't like the CGI of it, like suctioning into the cannon. Like, at least put the smoke and debris on him as opposed to. Oh, it's filling the cannon.
I agree. I feel like that was just like a difficulty with special effects.
Yeah, I know.
I like this, and I'm glad they did it, and it makes me wish it came with an alternate piece where they have the big hammer.
Yeah.
Because it makes it seem, because when it's just that little hammer on the hand, it's not that impressive. Yeah. But with the idea that it could become this big thing, and I have that figure, I would happily pay another $10-20 for like a giant hammer arm to have. That'd be great.
Yeah. The thing about this, we've acknowledged no matter what combination they're in, no matter what finisher they use, you get the American-only gold sword, and you like it. And that's what it is.
Yeah.
But I will take a sword over a gun any day for this, because at least you can kind of make it work.
Putting energy into it. Yeah, it's not great, but it is better than a gun, I agree. And then here we see what looked like Boom Tower was getting the Sporix, but then Green with another power-up of some sort that we've never heard of.
We've never seen that for some reason is a
lasso of some sort.
But a chameleon.
Yeah. But this joke is going to be divisive too. He's like, I was supposed to get that. And she says, okay, Boomer.
Yeah, I know. This is another one where
I kind of like it, but I understand why people won't.
You're half liking it and half offended.
Offended? No, I like it. Well, here's the thing. As a joke that is like in the popular consciousness right now, it's like, okay, I get why they did it. I don't love that they're being so super referential to a specific time right now, because in a year and 5 years, it's not going to make any sense.
Yeah,
it'll date itself. But his name's Boom Tower.
Yeah, so
that's what. So it works.
If you're ever going to do it, this is the time. I agree.
Yeah, and so that's why I thought it was okay, because for most kids, most people in the future, oh, she's calling Boom Tower Boomer, like whatever Boomer. But if you happen to be watching it live, you're like, oh, I get that joke too.
One thing I want them to do in a future episode is they're all fighting the Zord, and somebody in the cockpit goes, hey, it looks like we're going to beat this Sporix, let me hop out and like try to play wide receiver and catch it so we don't lose this Sporix.
I like that idea. I think that's a sixth Ranger idea, though, because we've established that them being in the cockpit gives them extra power. And what if them jumping out, now they don't have enough power to swing the final blow or whatever. And here comes your favorite part, where it's been proven that there's no bad luck or anything.
So much.
And then he breaks the mirror. Oh, isn't that 6 years bad luck? Nope, it's 7. Whatever. It's all fine. Herp de derp. Now, here's the thing.
Dad, I was okay with.
I was okay with him knocking one thing over, and I thought that would have been a perfectly fine ending. This is a pet peeve of mine. On this show, on any show, there is a trope. Let me see if I can find something. Well, I can't. But where somebody gets a bucket on their head or anything on their head or box, whatever, and they're like, whoa, 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 and they can't pull it off, and they start stumbling around. That never would ever happen in real life. And not just this show. It's some kind of trope. You know, I've had things fall on my head. They don't stick to your head. Like, it's not.
You know why they do that, though, right?
So that it gives them an excuse to fall over into other stuff.
Well, no, so that you can have a stuntman do it easily.
Sure. Well, yes, that's part of it. But they want the character to go through all this goofiness.
Then once again, falls in the. And then I'm like.
Oh, the baby carriage. I forgot about that. He almost killed the baby.
Yeah, and then it's like, and then this convenient pile of, like, everything
empty
about this.
Boxes. Yeah, this was ridiculous. This was my least favorite part of the episode. I absolutely agree.
And then it brought us back to Ninja Steel of, wow, you almost died.
I agree, but again, it's a matter of degrees of how, judging against other seasons and even just this season, we've seen worse. And the slapsticky stuff in this one, I don't think is as bad as it's been in past episodes. So am I saying this is a great episode? No, but I think it's a solid filler character development.
I would argue that slapstick joke was just as bad, if not worse, than the cement foot J-Borg bit.
No, that was worse. This was bad. This was a similar type. You're right. But that was worse.
Here's the thing. What was the thing about J-Borg that, just upset us? It's always J-Borg, and it doesn't make sense because J-Borg should be smarter than us, but for some reason she's dumber.
But
this
also, go ahead.
Competent Blue Ranger that we like is the butt of this goofy.
You could be smart and competent and trip, though.
That's fine. This was dumb.
It was dumb. It was my least favorite part of the episode. I've seen worse things this season. I've seen worse things last season. I've seen worse things the season before. The worst parts of this episode were not as bad as other bad parts of episodes, and the rest of it, again, I've talked to a lot of the episodes have highs and lows, and this one was a lot of medium and some good. I thought they taught the lesson well. I thought that was the main thing. The whole point was to teach a lesson about perception and bad luck, and they did that well. The rest of it was fine to not amazing, but overall, I give the episode a B.
If she didn't have phenomenal luck in the Zord, I would have liked the lesson better. I feel like it was counterproductive that she kept getting lucky out of nowhere.
I agree. And as you say that, it makes me wonder if in the Sentai, it actually was supposed to be like real curse. Luck. Yeah. Yeah. Or just culturally, maybe they're like, well, luck is a real thing. I don't know. I agree with you on that point. But if they're going to do it, doing a Rube Goldberg machine is a good way to do it.
I know what score I want to give, and it's only because I'm frustrated rehashing these feelings.
Right.
I think a fair score is a C-. I want to give a D+, but I think C- is a
I'm
fair
sticking
score
with B.
because we only have 6 episodes so far. This could change.
I'm sticking with B. If it was a real, quote-unquote, real episode, like a plot-forwarding episode or something important, I probably would have ranked it lower. But knowing the type of episode it is, I'm ranking against what it is and what it's trying to be, and I think it was a B level at that.
The thing that will make me look back on this episode more fondly is if the limited amount of time that the bad guys had the morpher pays off in some way because they lost it just as quick as they gained it.
No, I think that was a one and done.
Well, I am just upset.
Fine. Well, that's the most we disagreed in a while, actually.
Yeah, this was classic Action Activate in more ways than we both realized.
Yeah, except neither of us got as angry. In the past, one of us, would get like, and that didn't quite happen this time. So,
yeah, I think, I think my biggest problem with this episode is I want this season to be so good, and it showed me glimmers that it can be. And when you give me flashbacks of stuff I really don't like in Power Rangers, I probably am harsher than I need to be.
Well, I'll say something that maybe is mildly controversial or pessimistic or whatever. And we talked about this in the beginning, because in the first episode, you liked it better than me. And I was like, I had such high hopes for this season, blah, 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 blah. I no longer have super high hopes for this season. I'm not saying it won't be a decent season or a good season, but like I was like, this is going to be better than Beast Morphers. This is going to be some kind of legendary great season. It won't be. I mean, is there a slim chance that from here it just rockets up to the stratosphere? Sure, but that never happens. So I think it has the potential to be a good season, but it's not going to be a great season unless some crazy stuff happens later on. Like it's just not. It's too similar to other seasons that are very flawed. It's not. Hasbro hasn't taken us into some crazy new direction, and it hasn't taken us back to some glory season like SPD. It's sort of the same, a little bit better, I guess, and that's fine because I like Power Rangers, and so I like it. But I absolutely had like, oh my god, here we go, Dino Fury, and now I'm like, oh, it's just another season of Power Rangers, I guess. Okay.
The thing that I think is giving me hope still is I look back at when we watched Beast Morphers, especially season 1. And a lot of those early episodes, I was
worse.
I was a bigger complainer about it.
I will say a lot of the early Beast Morpher episodes were worse than these early episodes. So maybe I'm comparing this to the end of Beast Morphers and SPD because, and really, I keep saying this. Watching SPD was like the worst thing I could do for seasons because it's like it's 10 years old and it's better than the last everything. Like,
yeah, it was a great and terrible thing to do just because it was a palate cleanser in the sense of it let us look back a little bit, but it was also terrible of like, it's like when you're on a road trip and you stop by a random place that you've like, oh, I've kind of heard about this. I've seen like 5 billboards for this. Let's eat it. And it's like one of the best things you've had. And you're like, I'm never going to be here ever again. Then you're always just chasing that forever. And you're like, oh. And the more time goes on, you get more, realistic about, I don't know if I'll ever have that again.
Well, the good news for me is that while it wasn't the last season I watched, it was almost the last season I watched. So, all those other seasons before, like basically this season, Mystic Force and not even really Overdrive because I started Overdrive. So this season and Mystic Force are the only two that are really bearing the brunt of the post-SPD Gazbot.
Yeah, I'm with you where I think I technically have more than you to watch.
Definitely.
But, like, not a lot.
I have one full season and the rest of Operation Overdrive.
I have the rest of Operation Overdrive, at least the second half of Samurai.
Megaforce and Super Megaforce, I know you haven't watched all of.
I haven't watched all of it, and I haven't watched all of Ninja Steel and Super Ninja Steel either.
That's what I'm saying.
It's one of those things. At some point, will I try to be a completionist when it's easier to watch? Maybe. Do I care?
It was on Netflix for years when it's easier to watch.
I know. That's the thing.
No, whether or not you care to finish is a different story. You for sure are less complete than I am at this point. That's what I'm saying. And you might not care.
I don't know if I need to be a completionist is what I'm saying.
Sure. Yeah.
I've seen enough. I've seen at least a little bit of every season to know what's good.
Yeah, and if I wasn't so close, I probably wouldn't worry. Like I have the weird distinction that most people don't have of, well, I guess maybe people younger than us, of having watched most of the Neo Saban first. Like I watched Mighty Morphin and Zeo, and then a bunch of Neo Saban, and then I'm like, let me go back and watch the other stuff. I agree that had I gone completely chronologically, would I be super excited to watch like Megaforce or maybe not? I don't know. But I started with Samurai. Well, restarted with Samurai, and so I
left my vegetables till the end.
Well, I have Overdrive still, which I know is blasphemy.
Operation Overdrive is my favorite season.
I'm honestly, mild soapbox. I'm excited for both us and the world where when we get to a glimmer of normal, when you and I can sit and watch an episode of Overdrive, it'll be this bittersweet thing of, God, this show's terrible. I'm so glad we got to do this. It's like one of my soft goals of the next 3 months.
Well, things are looking good. Who knows how soon it'll be? We'll see.
Fingers crossed.
Until then, I have been Gazbot.
Until then, I am still Mirrorverse Big Dawg Defender.
And to the power.
See you guys later. I just realized they did no hat and no glasses, so it truly is.
Oh,
Miracle
yeah.
Gross.
I was thinking like, oh, his hair, he's got such a short haircut. But I'm like, I think he got that cut a while ago, but you just don't notice because no hat.
No, I got that cut 2 hours ago.
Oh, okay. So there you go.
Actually, no. 3.5 at this point because I have no sense of time.
I'm going to end the broadcast.